The thing about this is there are so many layers to this Hegseth thing, because obviously layer one is the fact that they were exchanging classified information with a person in a group chat on fucking Signal, and they weren't even aware of who was in that chat. Like, that's insane. Secondly, it's illegal to disseminate classified information in Signal. We also know that these guys are probably using Signal a lot, which also means they're hiding conversations more often than not. Obviously, today was a fucking thing of epic proportions. We're going to go through the Atlantic article, but I really want to start with this clip because I feel like this clip, it sets the tone. This was just a couple days ago. This was 3 days ago, dude. 3 days ago, Hegseth. Remember, he borrowed Danny DeVito's jacket for a little press conference to talk about the big F-47. But here we go.
Under the previous administration, we looked like fools. Not anymore. President Trump has reestablished American leadership.
Wait, what was that, Petey? You reestablish American leadership? What was that, though, buddy?
Under the previous administration, we looked like fools. Not anymore. President Trump has reestablished American leadership.
President Trump has reestablished American leadership. Oh, Trumpy! Oh, that leadership is so American, Trumpy! Oh! Oh, give me another Jack Daniels! Right? Maybe I'll fucking send a Signal message to my neighbor. Dude, everything's a banana. Oh, shit, dude. Oh, Lord. Let's look at the Atlantic article here. So the world found out shortly before 2 p.m. on March 15th that the U.S. was bombing Houthis in Yemen. But this reporter, Jeffrey Goldberg, knew 2 hours before the first bombs. And why? Because Pete Hegseth, the Secretary of Defense, texted him the war plan, which included precise information about weapons packages, targets, and timing. Wow. So on Tuesday, March 11th, he received a connection on Signal, a connection request from Michael Waltz. At first, he thought he was being trolled because, much like the rest of us that are in the public eye, reporters get this all the time, where they get fake people pretending to be people to fake them out, to troll them, to try and entrap them, to try and feed them false information, to try and get some kind of quote from them that can be used against the paper. I mean, it's like journalists deal with a lot of shit in that vein. So he thought he was going to be trolled. He thought it was just a scam. 2 days later, on Thursday, 4:28 p.m., he received a notice he was included in a Signal chat group, Houthi PC small group. The term Principals Committee generally refers to a group of the senior-most national security officials, including the Secretaries of Defense, State, and the Treasury, as well as the Director of the CIA. It should go without saying, but I'll say it anyway, that I have never been invited to a White House Principals Committee meeting, and that in my many years of reporting on national security matters, I had never heard of one being convened over a commercial messaging app. So this guy, this reporter is like, whoa. Okay, apparently we're actually having one of these that I am now included in, and we're doing it on Signal. Okay, this stuff, these kind of communications guys are done in like black box rooms. You know what I mean? On devices that are extraordinarily secure. Signal is, you and I could be on Signal. That shit is pretty hackable. Here's the guys who were in that call. All of these people were in that call. Mike Waltz, Susie Wiles, Witkoff, Miller, Hegseth, J.D. Vance, Rubio, Tulsi Gabbard, John Ratcliffe, Jeffrey Goldberg, but none of these top-level security people looked at the list of names and bothered to verify that everybody in that call belonged in there. Nobody noticed. That is so damning that your top guys all got on a call. First off, they were outside of a skiff and nobody relented. They set up a channel outside of the classified information network to talk about this. And nobody here even said, you know what, guys, let's move this to the skiff. Nobody did. Trump officials accidentally texted war plans to a reporter. And what's more, not only did they text it to a reporter, but they texted it to a reporter that they fucking hate, right? They texted it to a reporter that they all can't stand. Dude, just idiots. At this point, a fascinating policy discussion commenced. The account labeled JD Vance responded, "Team, I'm out for the day doing an economic event in Michigan, but I think we are making a mistake." And as the reporter says, Vance was in Michigan that day. The Vance account then goes on to make a noteworthy statement considering that the vice president has not deviated publicly from Trump's position on virtually any issue. I am not sure the president is aware how inconsistent this is with his message on Europe right now. There's a further risk that we see a moderate to severe spike in oil prices. I'm willing to support the consensus of the team and keep these concerns to myself, but there's a strong argument for delaying this a month, doing the messaging work on why this matters, seeing where the economy is, etc. So that's really interesting too, that we see when Trump is not involved in the conversation, JD Vance sings a different tune. The account identified as JD Vance addressed a message at 8:45 to Pete Hegseth. If you think we should do it, let's go. I just hate bailing Europe out again. Now, this is really interesting here because these signal messages show that JD Vance has some deep-rooted issues with Europe. Big time. He's like super negative on Europe, and in fact, he wants to harm them. When you have the vice president of America actively wanting to harm one of our biggest allies. Dude, oh, fuck. Dude, these guys are so cooked. What it's showing is it's showing actual conniving for harming their allies. It is definitely showing that they're really out to get some people. You know, when they make these proclamations that it is about vendettas and attempts to destabilize, and really it's not at all, right, about the things they say it is, that they're fucking liars. I mean, we know this, but this only cements it further.
Sitting in a Safeway parking lot, watching my phone, and realizing, oh my God, this might be real. I think Pete Hegseth just sent this group actual targeting information, actual sequencing of an attack. I'm holding on to the phone. I don't want anybody to... And then I thought to myself,
dude, he's
he's
in a Safeway parking lot being delivered messages from the Secretary of Defense about an upcoming attack on an enemy. Oh, God. Bro, they're so incompetent, though. I am worried about, even in their misses, how they're going to damage shit and make our lives miserable and hell and maybe crash the economy and harm a whole bunch of people. But Pete Hegseth is just a drunken, small-time soldier who's a somewhat charming Fox News contributor who played a loyalty game with Trump. But that guy, Pete Hegseth, if he were to actually lead the U.S. Army in any type of operation, he would get fucking shellacked, bro. He could not lead a middle school paintball team to even like a winning record. He has no capability.
Mr. President, your reaction to the story in The Atlantic that said that some of your top cabinet officials and aides had been discussing very sensitive material through Signal and included an Atlantic reporter for that. What is your response to that?
I don't know anything about it. I'm not a big fan of The Atlantic. To me, it's a magazine that's going out of business. I think it's not much of a magazine, but I know nothing about it. You're saying that they had what?
They were using Signal to coordinate on sensitive materials and
having to do with what? Having to do with what? What were they talking about?
With the Houthis.
The Houthis? You mean the attack on the Houthis? Right. Well, it couldn't have been very effective because the attack was very effective. I can tell you that. I don't know anything about it. You're telling me about it for the first time.
Yeah, one of two things is either he knew about it and he's not going to take any responsibility. But if he didn't know about it, that means his staff lets him, the president, walk out into a room full of reporters without preparing him for whatever they might throw at him. That means his staff is just so derelict. It's not even funny. But yeah, he is always lying. So that was his take. Now let's look at Hegseth here.
Can you share how your information about war plans against the Houthis in Yemen was shared with a journalist in The Atlantic? And were those details classified?
You're talking about a deceitful and highly discredited so-called journalist who's made a profession of peddling hoaxes time and time again.
Now, again, you notice he's using the same Trump playbook. Trump was like, oh, The Atlantic. Yeah, I don't trust The Atlantic. The Atlantic is a fake paper. It's about to go under. He's same playbook. He didn't go after The Atlantic. He went after the reporter himself. Discredit the accuser. Exactly. Same playbook. And I mean, you can see when it hits him, he's pissed. Look at his face. When the question hits him, okay?
Was shared with a journalist in The Atlantic, and were those details classified?
Right there! You see that? Right there! Where he's like, dude, you see it. Oh, you see it, dude. You see it like it's landing on him, dude.
You're talking about a deceitful and highly discredited so-called journalist who's made a profession of peddling hoaxes time and time again, to include the hoaxes of Russia, or the fine people on both sides hoax, or suckers and losers hoax. So this is the guy that peddles in garbage. This is what he does. I would love to comment on the Houthi campaign because of the skill and courage of our troops. I've monitored it very closely from the beginning, and you see, we've been managing 4 years of deferred maintenance under the Trump administration. Our troops, our sailors were getting shot at as targets. Our ships couldn't sail.
Dude, he's just off on a fucking, oh, the troops! Oh, the troops! Oh, we're so tough! Oh, we shot those Houthis! Oh, where's my neck?
We will reestablish deterrence. We will open freedom of navigation. And we will.
Yeah, and we're so confident in this, we're going to just include every day, we're going to include one lucky winner into our classified signal group, right? You could go to www.𝗲𝗍𝗪.com and give us your phone number, and we're going to include one of you in every military operation. The special, Trump administration bonus. We're calling it classified military operations with Maga. Oh, shit.
Ultimately decimate the Houthis, which is exactly what we're doing as we speak from the beginning, overwhelmingly.
Why were those details shared on Signal, and how did you learn that a journalist was privy to the targets, the types of weapons used?
I've heard.
Dude, he is so visibly rattled there with that question, bro. Look at him. Look at his body English. Okay, look at his body English.
Journalist was privy to the targets, the types of weapons used.
I've heard I was characterized. Nobody was texting war plans, and that's all I have to say about that.
All right, but the Atlantic included screenshots. The White House confirmed the issue. House Speaker Mike Johnson confirmed it.
I'm concerned about Trump officials transmitting classified war plans on unsecure channels.
Listen, the administration, as I understand, I just was with the president in the Oval Office just now. The administration is addressing what happened. Apparently, an inadvertent phone number made it onto that thread. They're going to track that down and make sure that it doesn't happen again. What you did.
Dude, I love it. And these are the guys. These are the guys that we're supposed to entrust with all our shit.
Though I think was top level officials doing their job, doing it well, and executing on a plan with precision.
When they fuck up, they can make a major fuck up, and they're like, man, we forgive this shit, but goddamn, bro, if a transgender person tries to walk into the bathroom, there's going to be no fucking forgiving that. Transgender woman going pee is far more dangerous than you know, a fuck up of this magnitude. So they are like unified how they were going to spin this, saying, yes, we don't know how this inadvertent thing happened, but the conversation proves how good everybody was, how well they operated. And then Pete was out there saying, dude, this never happened. Oh, Lord. But so, yeah, so the NSC confirms it. Mike Johnson confirmed it. The Department of Defense lied about it. He openly lied about it. Oh, that's funny. That should be a resignation. But now again, guys, we knew that Pete Hegseth, like, dude, this guy is a drunk who sexually abuses and is so violent with women that his own mother gave him shit for what a degenerate woman abuser he was. This guy is a terrible choice for head of the Department of Defense. That's why these kinds of mistakes will happen. He didn't double check that list. He wouldn't double check that list because he's not a guy who's capable like that. He's not a general. He has no fucking combat management experience. This guy is a Fox News personality who would break a law or fucking, you know, hide a body for Trump. That's the only reason he has a job. What is up, guys? Thank you so much for watching. You like the video, you want to support independent resistance media, you know what to do. Drop that sub, hit the like button, and please share it. And we do love our members, so if you want to become a member, it's another really great way to support. Thanks again for everything, guys. I'll see you next time. Let's go.